Hey Rob, Bonnie speaking. How are you today?
Great. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Congratulations on the film. Of course, it premiered last year already, almost a year at Sundance. And what was it, for you to have that premiere, obviously during COVID? So it was frustrating, I'm sure, but the response to it was quite great. How did you feel about that?
Well, we had a premiere at Tribeca in New York in June, and it was really special because we finished shooting the film, I think on March
There we go.
9th of
Nice.
2020.
Yeah.
So we finished shooting days before the shutdown, and then all of post production was virtual. So it was really fantastic to have that in-person premiere in New York, and some of the people on my team I had met for the first time at the festival. So
Wow.
incredible.
That is incredible. That is. I'm sorry. I got my. You know what? This COVID has made my mind all like I'm getting all my film festivals all mixed up. So I apologize about that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
It's been a long 2 years, my friend, as you probably know.
Yeah.
But it's really, I watched this film. I remember I got a screener of it last year, and I watched it again just recently, and again, and I just remembered like it's such a mind bend. It really is. It's wow. I don't even know where you started. So let's go back to the beginning because obviously it is based on the graphic comic that you read, enjoyed it, and you thought, I guess when you read it, we're like, how do you envision this as a film? Before it was even written as a screenplay. What was your thoughts about that?
Well, I collaborated closely with the writer of the graphic novel, who also did all the illustrations and made the whole book.
Yeah.
And he had a very deep understanding of the characters, the plot, and kind of the tone of what he was doing, and that was tremendously helpful. So together, we set out to write the screenplay, and
Yeah.
he wrote the screenplay, but we worked very closely so that his kind of big book could become, a small movie.
Right, because here, this is your feature film debut, correct? Directorial
Yes.
debut. Okay, so I can't even imagine how the wheels are turning in your head because yes, you have this big, huge book. He condenses it down into this screenplay. So that's a gift because he's editing himself. But then you as a director are probably thinking like, wow, this had to have been a huge challenge, I would think, Rob, putting this together.
Well, the complexity of the story and kind of the nested realities, it was a challenge to understand, where the audience would be the entire time, because you don't want people. I hope you weren't completely lost when.
No, no, not at all.
when you
I was
watched
saying it was a great ride. It was a great ride, and it really,
it.
and actually
Good,
seeing it
good.
twice made me appreciate it more. Even I have to tell you, for sure.
Oh, good. Yeah, because it's hard to know, like when you know the story and you try and tell the story, it's hard to know, where somebody will be as they take in this information. So there was the complexities of that, but the fundamentals. There's something very basic and simple about it. It's mostly people in rooms. There's
Right.
some action and but it was the kind of story that I felt as a first time filmmaker with a limited budget
Mhm.
could could pull off. Like it didn't, there were no, it was science fiction, but there weren't any spaceships.
Exactly, exactly. You'll leave that to your next film now that you're experienced. You can do the spaceships then. I got
Yeah.
to ask you about the casting because everybody, it was such a good cast, and they all seemed to kind of work so well together. But let's start with Vincent because obviously, we all know and love him, of course, from Mad Men and all the other things that he's done. Why was he your perfect Glenn?
It's interesting. If you look at Vincent's career since Mad Men, he's done a lot of really kind of heady,
Yeah.
interesting projects. Um, and once he read the script and I talked to him about it, I think it was pretty clear that there was a connection because he's not on social media.
Mhm.
we, you know, we kind of quickly connected on sort of what's happening now and how this story particularly relates to kind of how we perceive reality.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I want to go there. I was going to save that question, but you know, to me, this film speaks so much to manipulation and power. People have power, and how, you know, now we've seen what's happened. Like, this world is completely changed over the last few years. Whether it was an election that you guys had, I'm speaking to you from Canada, so I'm the outsider looking in here. Okay, but you know, we were affected too. And how social media is so manipulative, and how people will read whatever, whether now it's about Russia or whatever. It's amazing. So like I said to you, watching this the second time, I had a whole other view of it just a year later.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I picked up the first graphic novel. It's told in 4 parts. I picked up the first one in 2015.
Right.
And then, you know, by pretty early 2016, we had a script, and that was prior to the presidential election.
Yeah.
So even when that happened, it felt very timely. But, you know, I don't know. I feel like this story is going to be told again and again for a little while still.
Yeah.
And where we get our information from is, you know, is a big part of it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, how do you feel about what we read on social media and you know, Twitter, and what people, you know, cowards are sitting there just tweeting and saying things. But then you've got young people, well, actually, you've got everybody, not just young people, reading this stuff and believing it. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what we tried to touch on in the film, because, you know, these characters don't know that there's some suggestion that they're not, you know, there's a suggestion that they're not aware of. And then, you know, as the story unfolds, you know, the audience begins to realize what's going on. And I don't know, it connected to me in my personal life, and you know, how I perceive the world and where I get my information from. And you know, it's interesting, a lot of my friends and people in my neighborhood and my family, we all kind of see it the same way, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's exactly what it is. So
yeah, it's tough. It's really tough, but I have to say the film really does make you think about it, and thank you for that. So
good.
thank you. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate it, and best of luck with the film. It's a good one. You did a really great job. So
Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching it a second time.
Of course. All right. Speak to you soon. Take care, Rob.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Bye.
Bye.